if nobody believes in you, there's only one person left that can believe in you, but that should always be the first person that does believe in you. So I harnessed everybody's negative image of me and their perception of who I was going to become, and I saw it as a challenge to take it to the extreme the other way. I'm not advertising get rich quick. I'm advertising learn the high income skills. You know, it's quite practical. If you go on and do a Facebook ads course and you learn how to do ads, you could go to a business and say, I'll charge you £1,000 to run your ads. If you are motivated and dedicated enough, within 4 weeks, you should have been able to prospect 50 plus businesses and close 20% of those businesses on £1,000 a month product. You're making 10K a month.
On today's episode, entrepreneur, investor, BBC's The Apprentice winner, and business coach, Joseph Valente. Joseph, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very excited to have you.
Thanks for having me. Really excited to be here as well.
So when I was researching you and your life story, you're obviously a public figure. And you appear to be a bit of a controversial one as well. So if I asked you, what do you think is people's perception of you versus who you really are? What would you tell me?
Arrogant, I would say, comes to mind. I get called that quite a lot. Very salesy. I'm always selling. Handsome.
Okay, perfect. Get it all out there.
Never gives up. Keeps going. Resilient. Not afraid to put himself out there. Says what he thinks.
Is that the first or the second?
As in?
So I think there might be a discrepancy between what people think about you versus who you really are.
Yeah.
So
I would say people label people arrogant because they don't have any self-confidence, and it's a word that's made up to justify how other people can believe in themselves so greatly when they don't. So I'm definitely not arrogant, but I'm super, super confident, insanely confident.
What gave you that confidence?
Great question. I think it's coming from where I came from, and coming from a place of having nothing. You've got nothing to lose. So everything is upside. And if you really want to succeed in life, and if you want to change the world, and if you want to do the things that I want to do, leave a legacy that lasts 1,000 years, become a billionaire, help 1 billion people, go to space, you've got to have an unwavering, insane self-belief. You just have to be sold on yourself. If you're not sold on yourself 100%, then people will see through you. And how can I ask anybody to join me on my mission, to come and work for my companies, to invest in my companies, to buy my products, to buy my services, to listen to what I've got to say, if when I say it, I don't say it with confidence and conviction, and I don't truly believe it? Because if you're telling me something, I know whether you believe it or you don't believe it. So I'm backing myself 100%.
I mean, that's a very valuable point, but it's also a rare quality to have that unwavering self-confidence. So what were the catalysts for that, or what are the practices that you do for yourself to maintain it?
So when growing up, I had a challenging upbringing, and when I got to 15, I was expelled from school, right? And my mum had given up on me. My dad had left when I was 13, and I didn't see him again. All of the teachers, all of the authority figures in my life said I was going to be a failure. And so that was the driver that made me say, you know, do I want this for my life? Do I want to actually let their labels become my reality? And the answer was no. I wanted to be successful. So if nobody believes in you, there's only one person left that can believe in you, but that should always be the first person that does believe in you. So I harnessed everybody's negative image of me and their perception of who I was going to become. And I saw it as a challenge to take it to the extreme the other way.
Hey guys, I have a very exciting announcement to make. I'm partnering up with my very first sponsor, which is none other than Momo Kombucha, our own London-based, locally produced, healthy and delicious kombucha, which I've been a fan of since the first time I tried it. Now, for the ones of you that know me, you know that I'm obsessed with my health, but at the same time, I'm a devout foodie, so nothing will keep me away from the tasty foods and drinks. Now, unfortunately for me, most delicious drinks are full of sugars and unhealthy additives. So this is why I love Momo so much. It is healthy because it's full of probiotics that are healthy for my gut, but at the same time, it's delicious, so it curbs my cravings. If you want to try Momo for yourself, use the discount code ISTHISIT15 to get a 15% discount on your first order.
And then there are things that I do on a daily basis that allow me to continue to build my confidence. You know, people that don't have great confidence, they need to start looking at the small wins. You know, what are the wins that you can create on a daily basis that are going to allow you to start believing in yourself? What messages do you need to tell yourself to allow you to start believing in yourself? Do you need to go in front of the mirror and tell yourself that you're a champion 12 times a day? If that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. But self-talk is very important. What you say to yourself and what you say about yourself becomes your reality. So if you talk negative about yourself, you're going to have a negative image, and you know that's not going to help with your confidence. If you talk positive about yourself, then you know you're going to have a positive image.
Yeah, I fully agree, and I really stand behind that. I think cultivating that inner voice that is a friend rather than a foe is probably one of the most important things you can do for yourself in order to just lead a happy life, put yourself in a way of success and achieve the things that you want to achieve.
Because if you constantly, sorry, go on.
No, just because if you're constantly battling somebody inside, how could you possibly have enough energy to then go out there and then achieve all of those other things and fight other people that might be against you or against your ideas?
Absolutely.
That you were about to say that.
I can't remember what I was going to say, but it was something along those lines. You said it better than I could anyway, so well done.
Fantastic. So we're on the same page there, definitely. So you mentioned a few things already about your childhood.
Yeah.
What else do I need to know about your childhood to understand really the person that you've become today and the journey that you've gone through?
So growing up, my mum really battled to look after us financially. My dad was an alcoholic. He didn't work. He drank every single day. Made it very difficult for me and my sister and for my mum, and created a very negative environment. And my mum had to look after us, and she had to bring in the income, and she had to provide and keep a roof over our heads, which she did an amazing job at, but she definitely struggled. And seeing her financially struggle and be under the pressures that my dad put her under, I knew that I had to make it right for her when the time was right. So it became my mission almost to change my circumstances, change my destiny, to not become like my dad, because I wanted to give my mum the life that she deserved. In fact, I started my first business to put my mum into retirement. That was one of my biggest and greatest whys. You know, starting a business is tough and scaling a business is even harder. And, you know, when times got difficult, I always would go back to that emotion, tap into that why as the driver to, you know, keep me going. You know, but I became very self-aware that we didn't have money and that we weren't able to go on holiday and that we didn't have the things that we wanted and we didn't have nice cars and, you know, we were always stressed out. And I said, I'm not going to live my life like this. And, you know, I made a commitment to change. But it wasn't until many years later that I was able to actually enact that change, you know, when I started to get a little bit older. My dad left when I was 13. And, you know, I just stopped seeing him. He left and just disappeared. And he left at a very, very difficult he left at a good time because I wanted him to go. I hated him. I hate to say it because he's dead now. And, you know, I hate to say that I hated him because I never wanted to. But I hated him, so I wanted him to leave anyway. But then when he left, I was 13, so I was just becoming a young man. I was changing. I was very aggressive and very angry anyway because I was always fighting with him all of the time. And then my mum found a new partner, and so she moved on with her life. And I kind of just fell into this void, really, of, you know, adolescence and challenging authority and having no rules. I went from a dictatorship to being able to do what I wanted when I wanted. And that's never good for somebody with my characteristics. They got into the wrong crowd, hang around with the wrong people, and spent kind of a few years really just going down a very, very bad path, getting in trouble with the police quite a lot, getting arrested all the time, being thrown out of school all the time, constantly being excluded, to the point that they expelled me. And then that was really a pivotal moment in my life where I came out the headmaster's office. My mum was crying. She looked at me and said to me, Joseph, what are you going to do now? You're finished. Your life's over. You're going to be in prison. You know, you've ruined everything. And I remember looking back at her and saying, listen, don't worry about me, Mum. I'm going to make you proud one day. This isn't the end for me. I said, I'm just getting started.
You already knew that.
Yeah, I already knew. I don't know why I knew, but I knew because I didn't define my ability by being told that I can't draw in an art class when I know I can't draw. You know, so going into lessons where I'm being graded for skills that it's quite obvious I don't have, I found a complete waste of my time anyway. So I knew if I channeled my focus, attention and energy into what I actually wanted to do, then I was going to become successful.
So did you have at any point role models, positive role models that
Mm-hmm.
entered your life that helped you see the bigger picture?
So when I was expelled, I went to work, and there was a young
So
guy.
you were
he was-
expelled when you were 15?
Yeah, about 14 and a half I was expelled. And within 2 weeks I was like, screw this. I took some time off and I was just dusting around, and I wasn't going anywhere, and I was like, right, I need to do something now. So there was a really cool guy. He was 25. He was like the guy around the town. He was a good looking guy, had BMWs, always had very beautiful girlfriends, and he was kind of the guy that I wanted to be like at 15. I was like, I'm going to be that guy. And he was a plumber. He had a plumbing and heating business that he just started. And, for me back then, plumbers made lots and lots of money. They made £50 an hour, and that was like millions of pounds to me. And so I was like, right, well, becoming a tradesman is quite clearly a good way for me to make loads of money. I'm definitely not going to go to university, so I might try this path. So I approached him. I said, can I come and work for you for free? I don't want paying. I'll do it for a year. And then at 16, when I turned 16, put me into college and then start paying me. That's exactly what he did. And I went to work. And then I basically became a model employee overnight because I wanted to be there, because I wanted to learn, because I wanted to get into this trade. And because I respected him so much and I wanted to be around him and I wanted to be like him, I was very, very respectful. And so I went and showed up and went to work every single day for free. And that was kind of the turning point for me to get me off the streets, get me focused. And then actually that's where I started to build my career.
So interesting, because as you described yourself, you clearly were somebody with a lot of energy and a lot of drive and a lot of passion. And because of your circumstances, they were just being channeled in, the wrong direction,
Absolutely.
the wrong way. And so it took that moment, that effectively dramatic moment of being expelled to then trigger that change that then put you in a path where you were actually channeling that energy and that drive and that passion that you naturally had as a person into something positive, something useful, and something that would then pave the way for you to get to where you were.
Absolutely. And I think we all suffer with, anger or negative experiences in life or things that have gone wrong, and we're always looking for somebody to blame. And I think around that time I learned, and again, one of my greatest lessons was that when everybody was gone, there was nobody else to blame why my life was screwing up except for me. And so I realized that the cavalry wasn't coming, no one was coming to save me, and there were no more excuses. So when you own what's going wrong, you're in control and you can actually change it. If you play the blame game, you're always giving everybody else the authority, and so you become powerless. So owning your failures, owning your excuses actually makes you so strong, so powerful, that you can then go on and start enacting change. And you need to turn the bad things that happen to you into your life, into, as you said, channel them into positive. Use it as the fuel, use it as the motivation, use it as the drive. You're experiencing it anyway, so you may as well channel that energy, because everything is energy, right? So you may as well channel that energy into something good.
Yeah, most definitely. And something that I've over and over spoken about also on the podcast and with coaching clients, it's how important this personal responsibility actually is, and how empowering it is when you embrace it and when you see it for what it truly is, which is total power over your destiny. Whereas when we're kind of shifting that responsibility to everything else, the circumstances, other people, the economy, the stepfather, or whoever it is, then we're limited because we've literally just giving away our power with those excuses. So definitely agree on that. And I wanted to ask you, so you're a person that really, had all these adversities in your life. Your father was an alcoholic. You were, expelled at the age of 15. Did your mother kick you out at 17?
17, yeah.
How did that happen?
When I went to work, I turned my life around positively, as in I got away from, just bumming around, and I was now going to work, but I was still quite an angry, aggressive young man that still was just breaking all of the rules. I went to work and became good in the daytime, but outside of that, I was still breaking all of the rules, doing the things that I shouldn't be doing. My stepdad had moved in with us, you know, and I'm an alpha male. I didn't want another man in my territory. I found it as a challenge, and we didn't see eye to eye, and I hated it there. And so with me continuing to work in the daytime, good, you know, but outside of work, I was still quite crazy, and, you know, and so it was just still loads and loads of conflict at home. It was basically just a constant battle. And when you're 17, you're not 13 anymore. So I'm nearly 18. I'm nearly a man. And, you know, I'm in this place where I feel very isolated and kind of I'm just staying there because it's the only place I've got to live at the time. So me and my stepdad were just getting into so many arguments. The person that my mum had to get out was me. But it actually ended up being kind of a blessing in disguise again. You know, when you're on your own, you've got only one person to rely on, and that's you. And, you know, that's kind of I've been on my own for so long, making my own decisions, that it gives me such confidence in myself and my own ability, because you've got nobody else to rely on. There's a podcast with 50 Cent, and he says, listen, when people say to me, but what did you do when you used to get in trouble? He said, well, I couldn't go home because there was no one to go to. So I had to look after myself. I had to fight my own battles. And the same has been with me for my whole life, really, is there's no one to go home to. So you have to fight them by yourself. But how much of a level up is that? It's not actually a negative. It just forces you to level up. It forces you to take responsibility. I don't want to be living at home at 25 years of age. My mum's still making my dinner and doing my washing and all of these types of things. I've got to be out there taking the world as it comes, and, you know, being an individual, being an alpha.
So you mentioned this a few times already, alpha, which you clearly identify with. Can you tell us what is an alpha male?
Okay, so in my opinion, an alpha male is somebody that is in control of their environment. So in my world, I am the leader. Whatever environment I come into, it won't be too long until I believe that I'm in charge. Yeah.
Does that actually happen always?
Yes.
Okay.
In most cases.
Okay.
It's confidence. It's having the confidence. It's making the decisions. It's looking after your people. It's looking after your tribe. It's looking after anybody that needs your support. It's about creating the opportunities. You know, you go back to the Amazon jungle and the tribes. The leader of the tribe is the one that looks after the women. It looks after the children. Tells the other men what to do. They come back to him to solve the problems. They come back to him to get the answers. And so I see myself as the figurehead of whatever environment I'm in.
Okay, and who helps you?
I suppose when you're the leader, you take the responsibility. So you're the backstop, aren't you? Everything stops with you. So, you know, you end up taking responsibility for everything. There has to be somebody that is the last line of defense. You know, so probably no one really. I look after myself. That's the way that it's always been. And that's the way that I like it.
I'm just thinking at the top of my head, you know, in the end of the day, even if you're alpha, you're human before you're alpha. So what about your moments when you're down, or moments when you're sad, or moments when you need somebody? And I appreciate that, you know, being alpha is amazing, and everyone needs a leader in a team in any circumstance. But so who takes care of your emotional needs? How are you taking care of yourself in those moments when, you know, it's not going great?
It's a good question. And I suppose you just deal with it in your own way. I mean, if I'm not in the right mindset, or if I'm down, if I'm negative, I will look to something like YouTube for positive reinforcement. I listen to a lot of content every day. I'm listening to content. So if it's a mindset thing to get me out of a negative mindset, if I fall into one, I'm straight to YouTube. And I'm looking for mentors on YouTube that have, you know, overcome challenges or create specific content to help you overcome stuff. And that's probably where I go to, I would say. If I'm in a shitty place and I need to snap out of it, I'll go to YouTube. I have a business partner in my business, and I'll talk to him about challenges and stuff like that. But I don't, you know, really kind of tap too much into the whole emotional thing. I try not to explore the emotional stuff too much.
Interesting.
I stay away from the emotional stuff. It's
why?
Because emotional, I don't know. I suppose what benefit does it offer? If you're going too deep into the emotional, it's like you don't want to. It's easier to bottle it up and suppress it, I suppose, rather than give it. If you give it attention and you're watering it, you're giving it more chance to grow. So I'll just shelve it and then carry on. Now maybe that comes out in other ways. I don't know. Maybe I channel it in other ways, but I don't know. I probably need to do some work on that. It's not something that I do or know or explore.
This is very, very interesting for me because from the way that you described it, it sounds like you almost have this connotation of emotions to something bad that needs to be suppressed, controlled, put away, and basically just gone as far as it can be from you. But at least the way I see it, emotions are the colors of life. It's how you experience life, really. So if you cut yourself off and you want to silence and like stay away from whatever emotions you have, deep within you or on the surface or whatever they are, it's like you're cutting yourself from life itself. And also there's all the positive spectrum of emotions.
Maybe you need to teach me some stuff then.
Maybe coaching and coming.
Maybe you need to coach me some mindset stuff.
No, very, very interesting. But do you feel that from the way that you described it, it's kind of something that you've...
Yeah, it's just, I suppose remove the emotion and just get on with it. Yeah.
So everything is about doing.
Everything is about just do it. Just do it.
What about being?
Just get up and do it. Just get on with it.
What about being?
I don't know.
Are you...
I feel it a hard one to answer. It's like I don't know. I don't really know what to say because it's not something that I ever speak about. So
interesting.
I need to learn more. I'm lost for words a little bit with it.
No worries. I'm thinking at the top of my head. Do you have a spouse? Are you in a relationship? What's your kind of family?
I'm not.
Okay.
I have a little boy, but
congratulations.
I'm not with his mum.
I saw a photo. Very beautiful. Okay. And how is this whole kind of alpha male thing going together with relationships and romantic endeavors? I mean, what does an alpha male look for? How is an alpha male in a relationship? How does he show up?
I suppose what I would look for in a woman or a partner is support. Somebody that's going to support me and be there for me and motivate me and push me. I think that's really, really important. I want somebody to make me their king. So I feel like I am doing a job to protect, to provide, to create, to look after. And, I need that person to be my biggest fan, my biggest cheerleader.
So in this equation, your partner's, your spouse's king, is she a queen?
Absolutely.
So how does that dynamic express? How would you know that she's the one?
How would I know?
Yeah.
Good question. I suppose I'll have to test her out. I have to put her through a series of tests.
What tests?
To find out.
Interesting. What tests? Let's explore this. This is exciting.
I don't know really. I suppose a whole host of different tests.
I mean, I'm talking about this because this is so relevant. I mean, everyone's looking for love in one way or another. And now that I'm actually thinking about it, so how would you connect to her? Yeah. If not through emotion.
I suppose, I don't know. Maybe there is emotion there. You've got to find a connection, haven't you? What are your common interests? What do you both enjoy? What do you believe in? What excites you? What are your goals? Where do you want to go? What's your vision? They've got to be aligned because looks fade, right? So when the looks run out or the sex runs out or the good times run out, then there's got to be more that keeps the relationship together. For the first 6 months, it's exciting, it's fresh, it's new, it's cool. But after that, I've been in a few relationships that have died after a period of time because unless you've got more connection than just you find that person attractive, then very, very quickly, you can become fed up of just looks, right? So you need to have the same vision, the same goals. You want to go to the same place. And it's always difficult because, I want to take over the world. I'm going to be a billionaire in the next few years. And so finding a woman that wants to do that as well, up until now, I haven't been successful in that. So finding somebody that wants to support me all the way up to that level. I haven't been successful in that. Finding somebody that is inspired by the same things that I'm inspired by. I haven't been successful in that. Maybe it's where I'm looking. Maybe it's the type of person that I go for. Maybe I put looks first before I put character first. Of course you're going to put looks first, because you're not going to go out with somebody that you don't find attractive, are you? It starts with the looks. If I find you attractive, then I'm going to take you on a date. If the date goes well, then I'll see you a second, third, fourth time, right? And then after that, if there's any more substance, then maybe we'll carry on seeing each other. If there isn't, then it's going to run out anyway.
I fully agree with you on the fact that it's really about gauging all of these things that you mentioned.
Yeah.
So whether your vision align, whether your values align, and all those things. But what I've found in my own kind of experience in observing other people that I know, men and women, but especially men, tend to really not have that criteria in place, like the process. They're so good at work with creating these processes to make the business lean and to make it work and produce more. But when it comes to relationships, engaging whether a person is good for you or not, or even being conscious in the moment of what it is that you're kind of looking for, they're not very good at that at all.
No,
so
absolutely.
what is that process of yours of actually, what is happening in these days? Like what questions are you asking, or how are you basically gauging that she's that person that you've so far not been able to find?
Well, obviously I'm not doing a very good job. Maybe I need to treat it more like an interview and have a ideal candidate profile and then go from there, really. I suppose it starts with where you're looking, doesn't it? If you're going on a dating website, or you're going to a bar or a nightclub and listen, I've been in a relationship for a few years that I'd not so long ago come out of, so I'm a little bit rusty. I've not been single for years and years and years, so I've been out the game for a little while. So I need to get back into it.
It's always tough to get back into it after you've been...
Now that I'm in my early 30s, definitely. Yeah, when you're young, when you're in your 20s, early 20s, it's easier, isn't it? But I don't think that me going on Tinder now is going to be the right thing for me to do. It's not really something that I want to do.
So where are you looking?
But then exactly, where do you look? I'm not really a nightclub goer or any of that type of stuff anymore, so... I'll have to go to some new places. You got any advice? I mean, tell me, where do you go?
Actually, well, this is a super relevant topic, and it is challenging. And I've been thinking about this and talking about this a lot. I don't really think that dating websites are, at least in the way that they're mostly used, are useful at all. Yeah. I think unless you're being super conscious and, have almost a protocol of how you use them and be very intentional and be like, okay, I'm gonna be here, like my if you're after a relationship, if you're after a hookup, then of course you use them in the conventional way, which is just stay there forever and meet different people. But if you're after a relationship, I think you need to first look at the websites that are kind of made for that, or apps, and
Match.com,
something like that. Or I'm sure there are several ones.
I'll have to get a dating agency to do it for me. I'll get a consultant.
I actually have a matchmaker. Potentially, I'll introduce.
Oh, do you? Oh, nice.
But I mean, that sort of thing aside, I think the best way has always proven to be the organic way. Yeah. So either you're introduced by somebody, or you meet them in a place where your common interests overlap. So if you're into art and you go to exhibitions and you go to auctions and you go to galleries, then sooner or later you're going to meet somebody that's at the very least have the same interests as you. Yeah. And so that kind of, I think that is the ideal scenario where you meet doing something that you both enjoy doing.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, we digress slightly. But yeah, I think
you're taking me down a different road I wasn't expecting.
You never know.
I'm going to walk in, tell my story, job done, off I go, textbook.
Alas, I made you think.
You have definitely made me think. Yeah.
I mean, to wrap this one up, I guess my question to you would be, if you were to meet somebody that you were interested in, where do they sit in your list of priorities, time-wise and energy-wise?
Good question. Is it wrong? Well, I want to say, is it wrong for me to say that the business always comes first? But probably the business always comes first. I think that my philosophy is that my goals and dreams come first, And then once I'm happy and I'm satisfied and I'm achieving them, then I can be a great person to my partner, and then I can be a great dad. But if I have to sacrifice my goals and dreams to be a great dad, or sacrifice my goals and dreams to be a great husband, then I ain't going to be a great dad, and I ain't going to be a great husband. So the number one priority is what I want to do first. And then once I'm fulfilled with that, then I'll be able to be fantastic to you. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. And I think that basically goes back to saying put your own oxygen mask first before you're able to help others.
How many people are sacrificing who they are for their partner or for their children, and they're miserable? They got, it's great when you got kids. My son is amazing. I love him to pieces. But what good of a dad am I going to be if I'm sat around, not achieving my dreams, and he can't be proud of me, and I'm not fulfilled, and I haven't lived my life? Just because you have a child, it doesn't mean that in some people's eyes, maybe it means that you should then put all of your goals and dreams on hold. In my world, that's not how it's going to work. And then same for a partner. How many people sacrifice who they are for their partner, and they don't do the things they want to do, or they have to compromise? I don't compromise. I won't compromise. And if we have to compromise, then we clearly shouldn't be together anyway.
Interesting.
Does that make sense? It's like,
I was going to say that I definitely agree with you on the point that you need to take care of yourself and your needs first in order to then be able to perform and come into life and take care of everybody else. 100%. But however, I'll say that I don't know about the compromise thing though. I think to make any relationship work, you have to be able, have the capacity.
That's why I've not made one work.
Okay.
Because I don't compromise and I won't compromise. That's probably my downfall. So maybe I have to find somebody that just puts up with it and just comes with me. And maybe they sacrifice their dreams for mine. Maybe that's selfish. I don't know. But compromise is not something that I like. Unless it's a positive compromise.
Explain that.
Well, I get to do what I want to do. Unless it's a compromise that works in my favour.
I think what I'm hearing, what you're saying is kind of this vision of the world where it's either or.
Yeah.
And you getting your dreams achieved is basically either you happen to have your dreams that will be achieved, or it's the other person's.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they actually have to be mutually exclusive. And if you actually looked at it the way, like you said, so what would you be looking for in your ideal partner? And you said somebody that supports you, somebody that helps you achieve your greatest vision, right? So from that perspective, even the presence of that person is putting you on the road of you achieving your vision, your life's mission. So they are an integral part actually of you getting there. They are helping you. So it's a circle rather than either or a scale where, for example, if you make a compromise and you say, okay, no, fine, today, like, let's stay in, or rather today, let's go out, even though you don't want to, but you know that that person wants to, then that fills their cup. But they then, it's a circle, right? Because they contribute, then they're happy, and subsequently tomorrow you're going to be very happy, and so on and so forth. So does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think probably it just comes that timing is key as well, right? So I think when you're building businesses in the speed in which I build businesses, it's very difficult to keep a relationship down. It's got to be a super value add, or it's really not worth it. That person's got to add insane value to becoming on the journey, or it really just isn't worth it. You may as well stay single. And there's no point just being in a relationship just for the sake of it. So definitely I won't be getting into a relationship anytime soon just for the sake of it. And unless I come across somebody incredibly special, then I'm going to just carry on doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then just give it time and see how it goes. And then once I've maybe done more in business that I want to do, I might look for other things.
This is so interesting, because what I'm seeing this trend all around me, and even in myself. You know, you spend a couple of months, dating, and after it doesn't really lead to anything meaningful, you must ask yourself, okay, well, is this a waste of time? Like, I'd rather have put that time towards my business, towards my mission, towards my vision. So where does that leave us?
Depends what you're dating for. If you want to just have sex, then just have sex. If you're doing it for that, then just do it for that, and then cut it off quickly. Or if you're doing it because you genuinely like the person and you want to be with them, then you got to try and see it through. There is no point in doing, like, if you see somebody for a few times and you're not interested in dating, but you just want to have sex, then by the third date you need to stop seeing them. By the third time, you need to stop seeing them, or the emotions kick in, and then people start to get attached, and then it just goes on.
The famous boogeyman for you, the emotions.
Then it just goes on and on and on. But if you're not fully committed, then there's no point. There's no point bringing those emotions in, is there? What's the point of seeing somebody for 3 months? What benefit does that add? Because then, other than you're having a good time with that person for 3 months, and then what you're going to do when it ends, go and find somebody else and spend another 3 months with those guys. You're right, it is a waste of time. So you either keep it casual, or you I don't know, maybe you get 3 months down the line. Are you single at the moment?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you get 3 months down the line and you say, right, actually this person's not for me, or maybe he's saying you're not right for him. I don't know how it works, but
that was a hypothetical, by the way.
Oh, okay.
But okay, I completely agree, and it's a big topic to unpack. But all I'm saying is that a lot of people are single.
Yeah.
A lot of people are single, which I really don't want to think about the demographics, and where does that leave us as a society? That everyone just increasingly is being single, but that's a different topic.
The old school values of getting married early and staying together and having children are just disappearing, aren't they? I think there was an overpopulation statement, but actually the birth rate is in decline. It's not going up. And that's because, women are now pursuing their own dreams, and they're not staying at home and, looking after the children and cooking the dinner and, all of the old school stuff that used to happen, right? Now they're wanting to pursue their own careers and their own dreams. And so they're parking having children. It's not happening till much, much later.
I think it's also increasingly expensive to have children.
Yeah.
So people are just realizing the burdens of what if you become a single parent, or what if you're that from the get-go. So it's I didn't look at it like that, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to where we were, which is you're like, finally out of this emotion spectrum.
I was in a little mini counseling session then. I felt like, geez.
Right. So what I wanted to ask you is, you've gone through all of these adversities, and later on you went on to build an 8-figure business. Yeah. You lost it all. You rebuilt it all.
Yeah.
Is there a way to turn our adversities into our greatest advantages?
I mean, absolutely. And I think that's what everybody should be doing. That is, it's everything that goes wrong is an opportunity to make a change and to put it right. And so, throughout my life, every negative that's happened to me, I've tried to spin it into a positive. I built a national business by the time I was 30 years of age. I spent 8 years building it. It was a multi-million-pound business. It had hundreds of people. It was operating in every major city. It was doing $1 million a month in sales. And that business started to struggle really badly financially. I'd scaled it too quickly. We didn't have the cash that we needed to sustain. I was battling British Gas in every town, and they had millions and millions, a lot more cash than we did. And so, I had to break up that company. I had to sell part of it. I had to shut part of it down. And at 30, I found myself without the empire that I'd created, and I believed that I was going to do a big exit, a 50 million exit, and I didn't get that. And
what did you get?
Nothing. Next to nothing. Yeah, next to nothing. Because the business was very over leveraged, and we were burning cash at such a rate that it wasn't really an attractive prospect for. I was running out of cash so quickly, I couldn't see enough people to sell the vision of what the business could be, even though it was a good business, fast enough. I left it too late to start seeing people, and we believed that we were going to be able to recover. It was a direct sales organization, right? So it's all dependent on what you're selling each month, every month. There's no contracts, there's no recurring revenue. So you're working on a month by month performance, and we were in a position where we had to do £60,000 in new business every day to be able just to break even. So
how much?
£60,000 a day to break even. So, if I have a direct sales force nationally, if a few of those cities don't perform, or the lead stops, so I can't send my sales guys to go and bring in the work, the cash dries up and it doesn't come in. And, for a period, we'd grown so successfully by scaling the sales teams. But when we got so big, there was a really warm winter. Brexit was happening. People just stopped buying boilers, and it really hit us hard. Sales weren't where they were expected to be, which hit our cash flow. So it was almost, we were working so reactively. I didn't have a huge amount of time. So I managed to find somebody to be able to buy that business. And take the staff on, take the customer contracts on and all of that type of stuff, take the brand on. But I had to shut part of the business down. So it wasn't attractive, really. I almost did it just to stop liquidating the business, you know, just so everybody was protected and my people and so on and so forth. But again, you know, out of that business in the last 2 years, we've done 6 million. I've been able to bounce back extremely quickly in a business that I love to run, in a coaching business, super profitable, much more exciting than the previous business, and a lot less stressful. And I've done that by teaching the construction market how to go from tradespeople to business people. When I was 22, I was a plumber that had started a plumbing company. By the time I was 29, I was running the largest independent boiler installation company in the UK. So I'd become a CEO. So I'd gone on that journey from tradesman to businessman. That's the concept that I put into Trade Mastermind, which is my training business. And, you know, in 2 years in a pandemic, we've got thousands of customers. We do all different training solutions. We're a scaling business. It's continuing to grow and it's very profitable. And, you know, I've made it again. So
amazing.
You know, you got to use that, right? What a great business to be born out of something that happened so negatively to me has now helped so many other businesses to be able to succeed. We've helped businesses scale and sell. We help businesses grow their sales by 400% on average. Like, it's seriously changing the construction industry business by business.
I went onto the website, the Trade Mastermind, and the first thing that popped out to me was this, you know, invitation to join a seminar or something.
Yeah.
And it was saying, you know, you can get from 0 to £1 million per month sales in the boiler industry. Now, somebody looking from that has no idea, you know, from just online by clicking that, they'd ask, how realistic of a promise is that? Mm-hmm. How many people is that actually accessible to, that sort of results? Like, you've done it, but you're 1 in a million case, right? And we'll go more into your kind of journey of growing that business for so long. So talk to me about the results and the people and the promises.
Okay. So it would have said 0 to 7 figures. In 12 months, not by month. I don't think it's just in 12 months. Yeah. So it's very realistic. In the last 2 years, we've helped 2 businesses both scale to 7 figures and exit for 6 figures. Both businesses, one was doing 190k, one was doing 250k, both plumbing and heating companies. Transition them from their low ticket maintenance and service and repair model to a direct sales and installation model. Because you've got to look at the opportunity vehicle that you're in business, right? So we help businesses grow so quickly because we don't necessarily make them work much harder, but we change their strategy. If you're selling if you're a repair company, you still have to generate the lead, you still have to send an engineer around to the home, you still have to have a van, you still have to pay the fuel, you still have to send them to the suppliers, you still got to invoice the customer, still got to collect the payment. Now that job is going to pay you £100, right? Or if you're a installation business, you still generate the lead, you go see the customer, you do all of those things, but out of it, you're going to get a £2,500 sale. So it means, you know, not changing what you do on the day. Well, it does mean changing what you do on the day to day, but it means just changing. If you tweak it and change your operating model to something that's got higher ticket, higher margin, you don't have to do any more work. You just reap all of the benefits. When I started the Trade Mastermind, I told you earlier, it was £1,000 an hour coaching business. Then it became £1,000 a course e-learning online. Now the minimum entry product that I sell in the Trade Mastermind is £25,000 plus VAT, and that's for a 12-month program because I'm not interested in selling low ticket products anymore. I'm going for the big ticket, big margin product. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah. So if I do 25,000 in one sale, it means that I don't have to find 25 other customers because I'm selling big ticket. I'm not selling small ticket. So if a company comes to us and they're doing 250 grand, we teach them how to stop being a reactive, waiting for customers to come to them business and become a direct sales and installation business where you generate the lead, you send out a salesman, you sell professionally in the home, you close the big ticket, close the deal. And so the growth on 400% is actually doing less jobs than what they were doing previously. They're just bigger tickets, so the revenue scales up much faster. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Because when I was in 2016, I had a company that was doing $1 million a year as a maintenance business. We were doing 800 jobs. On average, those jobs were £100 a month, so it was like 80 grand a month in revenue, right? When I went and tested the installation market, I made 30 sales at 2.5 grand each, and that was 80,000 in revenue. So I did 775 left jobs for the same amount of revenue, and that's where it clicked for me that it was time to upgrade the opportunity vehicle. You can have a level 10 skill set and a level 2 opportunity, and that opportunity is only going to go so far. The mistake that I made in Impra was that I continued to scale just one product. What I should have done past 2 million is introduce more products, so that when I hit the 10 million and above, if that one product line stopped selling or had challenges, I had other products to back it up, but I didn't. So it's a bit like going to a pub and, they only sell beer and they don't sell any other spirits, or they don't sell food. If the barrel runs empty, the business is closed. Yeah, that's why they have all of the other products and services. But I wasn't fast enough, or I wasn't knowledgeable enough to know when to introduce these other products, because it was the first business that I built nationally. If I did it again for a second time, I've now got the knowledge, the education, and the experience to be able to do that and make it a success. This is why I was able to build a multi-million pound business. It took me from a standing start. Don't forget, I started in 2020. And then 2 months later, lockdown happened. I did £1 million in about, 5 months.
How did you do
from
that?
A standing start, from generating leads and making sales. Because I'm an expert marketeer. I know how to sell at scale. And my knowledge and the training that we produce was phenomenal. Because like you said to me earlier, like all you need to do to blow your business up is get leads. And then you need to bring them and close the deal. You should sell your mindset coaching for £1,000 an hour. You should put out a little bit of money on Facebook, run some ads, nice content, make it look pretty, and sell the value, give away some value on the little ad, generate some leads in. You get on the phone to them, you call them, and then you close the deal. And then, however much clients you want, you could get to 20 clients easy. I got to 20 clients paying me £1,000 an hour in about 4 days. In January 2020. So I lost my business, but then very quickly I was making insane money again.
How big of a team do you need to do that?
Well, to do the leads and to do the sales, you could do that by yourself.
No excuses, guys.
You just got to do it, right? You just got to do it. Putting out this content is fantastic, and I think it's amazing what you're doing, and this is your long form, but you need some ads. You need to run ads to generate some leads, and then you need to get good at selling. I'll teach you how to sell. You need to learn how to make sales. Yeah, and then sell what you do, get some success stories behind what you do, and then people will start paying you, and then it will start going from there. But you ain't going to get anywhere if you don't get leads.
Historically, funny you should say that, because historically I am a salesperson. It's just
fantastic.
that I've always been selling things of other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely that transition of selling products of
You
others.
are the product.
Yeah.
You're the new product. You just got to sell yourself.
Yeah. I wanted to talk to you also about the journey that of Improgas, right? Yeah. So you started when you were how 22? 22, right? And then 3 years later, you went into the Apprentice.
That's right.
Okay, how was that whole experience? You won it. 2015 Apprentice, 2015. BBCs. You won it. You got Lord Alan Sugar to invest in you, 250K.
Yeah.
How was that experience? What do you think was the thing that made you win?
Okay, so I started my business at 22. I'd moved back from Australia, and I was a gas engineer. I was making 50 grand a year.
Australia, sorry, yeah. I missed that part.
So I moved to Australia when I was 21. Then I came back at 22, and I got
fun.
Yeah,
work?
amazing.
Nice.
Oh yeah, for fun. Yeah,
okay,
for fun.
Okay.
Well, basically, I became a qualified gas engineer at 19. I was making 50k a year. By 21, I was looking at my life and saying, "Where am I going to go next?" I had a good salary for the age that I was and where I lived. It was great money, but I wasn't fulfilled. And I'd hit my ceiling, and I was like, I'm not going to be servicing boilers and fitting boilers for the rest of my life. Screw this. I like to achieve something, then I like to move on very quickly. As soon as I've achieved it, I do it. Then I need to know what's next. If I don't have what's next on the horizon, if I'm not pushing for the next thing, for the next bigger thing, for the greater thing, then I become very miserable very, very quickly. That's when I start to lose my way, lose purpose, stop trying to push. So I was like, right, screw this. I'm going to sell everything and go to Australia. I want to go and see the world. I want to go and see what it's like. I want to go and have some fun. I want to go and travel. I want to meet new people. And that's what I did. I sold everything and went over there. Spent 6 months partying, spending loads of time with beautiful girls and having lots of fun, and going up and down the East Coast and doing everything that a 21-year-old should be doing. Then I was like, right, I need to go home now. I've had enough of partying. I'm ready. I've got it out of my system.
Time for action.
Yeah, I'm going to go and build my empire. But I came back, got straight back into the job, and I really wasn't enjoying the job. And 2 months later, it was Christmas time. My mum got me Lord Sugar's autobiography for Christmas. Big, thick book. I read it for cover to cover for 2 weeks. It literally changed my DNA. I saw everything I told myself up until now about why I couldn't be
Which book was that?
What you see is what you get. I realized that everything I told myself about why I couldn't be super successful up until this point wasn't true. Lord Sugar came from a council estate in London. He came from poverty. He was able to build a billionaire wealth in one lifetime. And I looked at his story and said, well, what has he got that I don't have? If he can do it, then I can do it, right? He's got 2 arms, 2 legs. He can walk, he can talk, he can breathe. You know, he wasn't given anything. He didn't go to the right school. He didn't have the right connections. He didn't have family wealth. He, has done it all by himself. And so I thought, right, screw this. I'm going to do this. So I quit my job, took out a £15,000 loan overnight on the 31st of January 2012, I think it was. And Impregas was born. I just quit my job straight away, took out a loan, and I was like, right, I'm going to go buy a van, get some tools, and I'll go start this company. And so that's where it began. And then fast forward 3 years, I had a company that was doing $500,000 a year. I had about 7 staff. And I was doing really well. I was making loads of money. I had a nice car, nice girlfriend, I had a nice house. And, I was quite successful in my local area in business. But I wasn't fulfilled, and I was I was just working 7 days a week. No systems, no processes, no structure. I didn't know how to run a business like a businessman. I was running it like a plumber would, but I was just working insanely hard. I was doing 18-hour days. I was a machine. And I never stopped. And that wasn't sustainable. So I knew that I wanted to build a national business. That's what I set out to do. It wasn't to start a little plumbing company. I wanted to be national. I'd seen the vision 3 years earlier when I read that book. I used to vision the vans going up and down the motorway, seeing my vans on the road. And I knew that was going to happen. And something had to change if I was going to make that happen. So, you need to take big quantum leaps if you're going to get to the levels of success that I desire and that I want to achieve. And, if you want to achieve them, you got to do things that are completely outside of the norm, completely unique. And there was an opportunity for that show. It was January the 9th, 2015. I came into my house. It was, about 9 o'clock at night. Had a bit of a shitty day. And Lord Sugar's page came up. Final call to apply for the Apprentice 24 hours. And I remember looking up at the universe and saying, thank you.
That's the one.
I've won. And I knew I'd won at that moment.
Amazing.
Before I'd even been asked to go on the application, I knew I'd won.
So what I'm hearing is you really do use a lot of visualization in your life?
Absolutely. Every day.
What's the practice? When you wake up, when you go to bed?
When I go to bed.
When you go to bed. How much time do you dedicate to that?
I would say there's a subconscious vision always going on. Yeah, so I'm with you right now. I'm conscious right now, but I'm also talking to you and looking at you, but I'm also thinking about 20 million other different things. So I run two brains.
Interesting.
And so there's always something going on. I'm always planting seeds throughout the day. So I kind of vision throughout the day sporadically. And then when I'm on my own at night and I'm in bed, I'm starting to really then tap into my I am affirmations and looking at what it is that I want to achieve. And I practice vision. So first and foremost, you got to see it. Okay, then you got to feel it. So you've got to feel the vision for it to become real. Then you've got to speak it. So I'm a billionaire, I'm a billionaire, I'm a billionaire, I'm a billionaire, I'm a billionaire. And then you've got to believe it. And this is the key. People think that law of attraction is about just visualizing something, or people that want to try and debunk the law of attraction. Oh yeah, of course you can just vision it and then it comes true. There's way more to it than that. There's a 4-step process to it. It's vision, it's feel it, is speak it, and it's believe it. Now, you can do the first 3, but if you don't believe that you can become a billionaire, you will never become one. Believe is like the final key for me that actually backs up what you say is real to you, because I don't give a shit who says that I can't do it. Actually, if they say that, that's a motivation for me. But if I don't believe it, then I know it's not going to come true. There are things that I've told myself in the past, and I know if I'm kidding myself, right? But if I actually believe, then I know it's going to come true. Like, I know I will be a billionaire. At the moment, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I know I will be a billionaire. I've been planting this seed for the last 8 years. It will happen 100%.
Fascinating.
It will 100% happen. I'll come back and see you in 10 years.
Yeah, I don't know. Why 10 years?
When I'm a billionaire.
Why 10 years?
Because I'll be a billionaire in 10 years.
Yeah,
I can't see you
sooner,
for 10 years
or
and then
sooner.
I'm coming back in 10.
See, that's your limitation. It doesn't have to be 10 years. It can be less. No, it's very interesting that you're saying this, because I was literally just reading Deepak Chopra. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Deepak Chopra's 7 Spiritual Laws of Success.
Yeah.
And you're literally talking about them, which is
Yeah.
one of them is this intention and desire, but at the same time, law of detachment, where you acknowledge the fact that you don't know and you don't have to know how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
Because that's not up to you. What you know is that vision. What you know is that desire. You've planted that seed and you keep doing that all the time.
Yeah.
And the rest is up to the universe. How are you going to get there? And of course, you take action in that direction, which you do anyway.
But I like what you said there. The rest is up to the universe, because you have to put your faith in a higher purpose. Because if you're going
what do you believe?
What do I believe? Well, I'm a Christian, so I do believe in God. I'm not kind of a devout Christian, but I do believe in God. I believe in a divine. I believe in a higher power. I believe in the universe. You don't really know what it is, but I believe it. I think that the universe has always had my back. God has always had my back. When I've asked for help, I've received it. I've been blessed. I've been given great opportunities. I've not always taken those opportunities and given them the respect that they deserve. And I think that a big part of me losing my business when I was 30 years of age was because I got too cocky. When from 25, I did so much. I wrote a best-selling book. I sold thousands of copies. I had a podcast #1 in the world. I was winning every award I applied for. I was in Forbes 30 under 30 when I was 28. I won National Installer of the Year. I'd built this national business. Everything I touched, it almost became boring to me because I couldn't find anything else that I couldn't do. And I don't mean to be sounding arrogant, but it was just easy. It was like, just do that then. And it was like, if I want to launch a #1 podcast in the world, I'm just going to do it and it's going to work. It almost became so easy and so real that I probably lost the respect for the process. And so I think the universe gave me a right hook. It was like, right, you need to be taught a lesson right now. And they took everything away from me because I didn't respect it or appreciate it anymore, and I'd got complacent and I probably wasn't giving it the respect that I needed to. But I do think that it was one of the greatest things that could have happened to me, because who wants to go bust at 50, right? If you lose everything at 50, then it's much harder. Now I've built a national business. I've downed a national business all before I'm 30 years of age. The experience of the way down was far greater than the experience of the way up. I know what to do when shit is going wrong, when literally a national business is dismantling in front of your eyes. I know how to protect the legals. I know how to protect yourself. I know how to make sure everything is covered and protected. That's invaluable experience. Don't get me wrong. It cost me a lot to learn that lesson. But if you've just been successful in business and you keep winning and you keep winning and you keep winning, nobody wins forever. What goes up must come down. And someone could win for 20 years. They win for 20 years and then boom, they lose it all. Yeah. At least I'd lost it in a short period of time and now I'm back in the game again. But this time I'm bigger, badder and more skilled up. So it's going to be much harder for me to lose again. But if I lose again, I don't care. If I lose again, I'm going to win again, right?
I have several points that I want to take here. So one is how did you actually manage your own emotions, your own self? How did you manage that downfall when everything was crumbling?
Well, I had a very, very good PA at the time, a lady called Sophie, and she was such a great support for me, to be honest. I'd broke up with my partner, I'd moved out of my home, and I'd gone to an apartment, and she was there for me, and she believed in me, and she backed me, and she said I could get back up. So she was amazing. She was fantastic. And so she was really, really key. My best friend was there for me. He was good. And he was a good support. But a lot of people on the way up, they kind of then just disappear, right? All of those people that wanted me because being associated to me was great for their brand and great for their own personal development. And then when shit hits the fan, they all disappear, which again is a great experience. But
great learning.
It was difficult for a period of time. I don't dwell on stuff for too long, right? Because I don't have time to. And there was about a week where, I hated my life. I was feeling sorry for myself. I didn't want to pick my phone up. When the story broke and it was in every national paper, it was quite tough and it was embarrassing. I felt my pride and my ego was hurt more than anything. And I felt really sorry for the businesses that lost money because I had to shut the company down with debt in the business. So I felt very, very sad for those guys. But again, I didn't steal the money. So the business went down. It had its challenges. I didn't keep the money. I wasn't a crook. I didn't steal their money and roll off into the sunset, right? So there wasn't a story like that. It was not done through complacency. It was done because we grew too quickly. But the businesses that lost money, they knew that it was a risk to scale. And if you're going to back a business that's growing national in 2 years in a construction industry, it's not online. You know, this is people, moving parts, components. You know, there's logistics. There's huge operational requirements to that type of company. And then you have to be prepared to take the upside and the downside. Now, one great thing that happened to me was Lord Sugar tweeted at one of the articles saying, you can't win them all. Yeah, you can't win them all. As if to say, you know, Joe's is a loser now. And I'm laying on my bed and I can remember it so clearly, and I was feeling sorry for myself that day. And I was like, how on earth am I going to turn this around? How am I going to rebuild? I read that tweet and honestly, I jumped up with so much fucking fire in my belly. I was like, right, let me show you who I am. Let me show you what I'm going to do. And then again, you know, I've gone off in the last 2 years to build a multi-million-pound business again in a new sector, in a pandemic, in an industry that I knew nothing about, developing the products and the training and everything at such a rapid pace that I believe I have bought my credibility back as a business person. And that, again, I don't think that there were some things that I probably should have slowed down on or been more educated on. But this is why I started the training business, because you don't know what you don't know. It's not your fault if you fail the first time because you don't know what you don't know. I could have been better prepared, but the second time you go at it, if I screw it up again, then this time you can really judge me. If I screw it up a third time, then I'm obviously just being really super complacent, right? But the first time, and you're growing so quickly, no one's ever done it in the construction industry before what I did. So I kind of take it as a loss, but I take it as a lesson at the same time. So sorry, just to answer the question, I use Lord Sugar's tweet as a positive, even though it was a real negative, I used it as such a positive driving force to fuel that I needed to prove myself to everybody and to him that I wasn't a failure. And it was the greatest gift he could have given me. Honestly, it was the greatest gift. I went back 2 years later and I retweeted him and I said, thank you for this tweet. You don't understand how much you saved my life. I built a multi-million-pound business that with this, done this, done that, done this. It was kind of, maybe it was a little bit boasty, but it was almost just to say thank you.
Very interesting how, once again, what we spoke about in the beginning, that ability to take something negative and completely transform it into something positive. And that to me just signals this ability of yours of, you know, assigning meaning that is beneficial to you. So what I see a lot around me, and what I've been through myself as well, is, you know, there's a situation. And it's 100% up to us to interpret it the way that we want to. So then the question is, are you cognizant of the fact that the way that you will interpret it and the meaning that you will assign to this will then put you on one direction or the other?
Yeah.
So clearly you've been able to instinctively or subconsciously or consciously just keep doing that with all the things, like all the bad things that happen to you that, you know, conventionally would be recognized as bad. You just, you know, don't give it a second thought and just transform them into something that will then bring you benefit. Yeah,
absolutely.
And we all have the power to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what other choice is there? Accept it and then it becomes real. Yeah. And then what are you going to do? Give up and quit?
Yeah.
You know, and then you're just going to stop, feel sorry for yourself. Yeah. Just disappear. I remember people were telling me to stay quiet because when it happened, I probably fronted it out. So I went OTT on the content and the stuff that I was putting out, but I needed to show that sign of strength. I remember somebody close to me at the time who I did respect for a period, but I kind of lost it. But they were telling me to disappear, to go quiet, to hide. And I was like, fucking no way, right? Why would I do that for? Okay, why would I disappear? And so, you know, you've got to, what choice is there? Just quit and give up?
Well,
you know, you got to...
You correctly phrased it, choice.
Yeah.
There is always choice. So, in fact, that is a choice. And a lot of people take that choice.
But then it becomes real, doesn't it?
It does.
Then it does become a failure.
Yeah.
If I'd have disappeared and not bounced back, then I would have become a failure. What good would I have been?
That would be the last thing that people would have remembered you for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. So you're writing on top of that. You're always constantly rewriting that story.
Absolutely.
Right. You mentioned Lord Alan Sugar. I wanted to ask you, what sort of things did you learn from him whilst you were working with him?
Okay, good question. One of the biggest lessons that I learned was about decision making. Now, to be a successful CEO, you need to be able to make good decisions. You need to be able to make fast decisions. You need to be able to make effective decisions. I see so many people that can't decide, and the lack of ability to be able to make a quick decision is what holds them back. You know, not being able to decide will keep you on the fence forever. You know, when we are working with businesses and when we are selling them our services, because I've always been in sales, I've always seen, you know, that opportunity for a person to make a decision or not. And it really is a challenge. People just don't have the confidence in that decision-making ability. And I went in there just a couple of months after working with him, and I had all these ideas and all these opportunities. And he said to me one day, you keep posting on Twitter saying that you want to be a billionaire, and every time you show up into my boardroom, you can't make a damn decision. So if you want to be successful, Joseph, I'm going to give you one lesson, and this is the lesson. If you want to become a multimillionaire, you need to be able to make £100,000 decision in 3 seconds. If you want to become a billionaire, you've got to make a £500,000 decision in a second. And
How?
Well, how is just by making the decision, just by committing to the decision, because speed and precision is what, for me, okay, let me rephrase that. So you need to just decide. Yeah. So the question is how? Just do it. Just commit. Just say yes. Just
but what about
anyway.
all the fears and doubts?
Well, you just got to commit, because when they creep in, you're not going to commit. So if I say, would you like to do this? And you say, let me think about it. I'm going to say, well, just commit now. And you say, I can't because I need to think about it. Well, what do you need to think about? Well, I need to think about this. I need to think about, well, do you? Let's just do it anyway. So that blows people's minds. But he was absolutely spot on, because, you know, you have sometimes a split second to make a decision when a great opportunity lands in your lap. And if you spend too much time thinking about it, you will miss the boat. Success likes speed. And I am a very, very good decision maker because I've made so many bad ones. But if I didn't make any, I wouldn't be able to make the bad ones, so I couldn't make the good ones. You know, everybody comes to me to decide. I make the final call on everything. Now, if your business is going down and you're running out of cash and you've got a strategy, you need to decide when to cap it, to bin it, to cut it, right? If things are going good and it's time to sell, you need to make the decision to sell it. But I love to make fast decisions. I love to act on impulse, because impulse is your friend. It's not your enemy. Because impulse allows you to do things that your sensible self would talk you out of. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And 2 things I'm hearing here. So one is you really need to take action, and in that action, all the answers will be revealed. 2 is you need to, again, be okay with taking that responsibility. The reason why you can't make decisions is because you want to defer that responsibility. So if you want to embrace this full, fast decision making, even if you recognize that now you're shit at it, and you're not good at making decisions fast, and there's a lot of people like that. They overthink, they overanalyze, analysis paralysis hits in real hard. From what you just said, it is okay. It is great to acknowledge that this is the place where you're at. And from what you just said, my trajectory is make those decisions anyway, because with time, with making calculate them in, like that's the cost of you doing business, aka you growing to become somebody that is going to be a good decision maker later on. You have to make those decisions, and you have to make mistakes. They're already factored in. So do it anyway. And at some point you're gonna get good at it. There's no other way around it. So people that are still overthinking and they're thinking, you know, yes, but I can, but I don't have enough information. It's okay. Just make the decision anyway, and then at some point
nobody wants an undecisive leader. If you come to me and you're looking for an answer and I'm in charge and I am fumble in front of you, or I'm not clear, or I can't give you a definitive answer, you're going to look at me and you're going to say, this guy is not the man that I want to be following. Yeah, he's not the guy that's in charge, right? I don't have faith in him. You know, so you got to be a confident leader. It's part of being a good leader as well, is being able to decide. It's being able to make a decision. You know, you need to have the respect of your senior team. Well, they need to look at you and see that you can make decisions. And if you make a bad one, you stick to it.
You take responsibility.
See it through, you know. But how do you get good at making decisions? People don't even see decision making as a skill that they need to master. They don't even acknowledge it because it's never been brought to their attention that actually it isn't anything holding them back but their ability to decide. If you're always questioning every move, it means you're not confident in yourself, and you can't make good decisions if you haven't made bad ones. But usually in most cases they're not catastrophic. You know, if you put it into sales, because it's the easiest thing that I can reference right now, and you say to somebody, well, what are you worried about? Well, you know, it's a big decision. What? £10,000 is a big decision to you. Well, what's the worst that can happen? You lose the £10,000. What would that look like? What happens if you spend the £10,000 and you're able to 400x your return? What does that look like?
Yes.
Is it worth making the decision? Let's do it.
Very often we're thinking only about the negatives when we're
Yeah.
hesitating and never about the upside.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And, you know, being good at sales is about helping people decide, right? It's about, I will make the decision for you because you're not confident to make the decision without me. My job is to help you. A fantastic salesperson helps their customers to make the decisions they need to make and gives them the confidence to be able to make it because they believe in the prospect and the product as well as the customer believing in the product. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I mean, in some cases, when you have this hesitance and this undecisiveness, it is effectively because you don't have enough information. So that makes you insecure, and that makes you not decide.
Yeah.
So when you acknowledge that and you understand that that's the case, all it takes is just to educate yourself more and get the information that you're missing.
Yeah.
So that's also taking action. But the answer is always taking action in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
In order to get out of that analysis paralysis mindset, because I know a lot of people suffering from that.
Yeah.
So now that I hear about the whole journey that you have, it's interesting because you first, became the plumber, gas engineer. So you had the manual labor skill. Then you decided to take that to the next level and you created a business around that.
Yeah.
And now what you've done is you're selling the knowledge about that. So there's an interesting kind of graduation of the forms of the same topic that has basically followed you throughout your life.
Yeah.
Interesting. You've graduated.
It's always, for me, it's always a level up. You've always got to upgrade, right? And, if you imagine a business like martial arts, you start out, you're a white belt, you fight white belts. And you learn the moves of a white belt. That's 0 to 100,000. Then you go to a yellow belt, and then you learn the moves of a yellow belt. You fight bigger opponents, and you learn new moves. That's 100,000 to $500,000. Then it's orange belt. That's $500,000 to $1 million. Then it's blue belt. That's $1 million to $5 million. And then it's brown belt, and that's 5 to 50. And then it's black belt, and that's 100 million plus. So you've always got to learn the new skills. You've got to fight the new competitors, and you've always got to be upgrading. It's always a level up because you've always got to be better than you were yesterday. I'm always better than I was yesterday. I'm always chasing the next higher level of authority or achievement. And how do you do that? You do that by upgrading you. You do that by learning new information. The next meeting I've got after you is with a billionaire. Then I'm going to meet that billionaire, and we're talking about him investing into our business and buying some shares and helping us take the company to another level. Why am I surrounding myself with billionaires? Because I'm going to be a billionaire. He knows how to be a billionaire. I don't know how to be a billionaire right now. So I need to be around billionaires to become a billionaire. Would you agree?
Of course.
Definitely. So, it's a level up. It's a level up. So I was a plumber that started a plumbing business, that ran a big plumbing business, that now trains people how to run construction businesses. What's next?
So
I don't know.
What's
the next in the business world?
So if I asked
then it's about creating insane levels of wealth. Then once you've got the wealth, then you create the legacy. Then you take the money, and then that's where you can change the world. Then that's where you can really start to make your mark. That's when you're helping people all over the world. That's when you're going to be able to build a legacy, when they're going to remember my name in 1,000 years. And they're going to say, remember that guy, Joseph Valente, from 1,000 years ago? He did this, 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 and this.
What would you like your legacy to be?
Great question. That I changed the world for the better. And I know that sounds a bit wishy-washy, and I don't specifically know, if I'm honest right now. I don't specifically know. I don't know. I need to get there, create the wealth, and then decide how I'm going to make my mark. I think the biggest legacy will be my son, because he has my name. He's Joseph Junior Valente, so he's my firstborn, and his son will be called Joseph Junior Valente, and his son will be called Joseph Junior Valente. And I want to create the Valente bloodline that lasts.
What if he names his son a different way?
He won't. He can't. He's not allowed. It will be ingrained in him that he names his firstborn Joseph Valente. I like the old school. Like the old school. I don't know, say royal family or whatever. That type of commitment and dedication to the bloodline, to the heir of the throne. So your legacy lives on in your children and your children's children and your children's children. There has to be something that stands the test of time.
So you want that to be your offspring?
I think so, but it always will come back to me. Just he was the guy that started this. and whatever it becomes to be. But generational wealth, 100%.
Okay.
And then the use of that wealth to do good in the world, not just to accumulate wealth, to keep wealth. You know, there are many families, or there aren't many, but there's a small amount of families that have created dynasties, especially in the banking sector. You know, people like the Rothschilds, for example, you know, they have insane generational wealth. And do they use their money for good? In most cases, I would say probably not. But they still continue to accumulate wealth at such a rate that they don't need. So it's about accumulating them. Well, maybe you can't accumulate wealth and be giving with that wealth as well at the same time. I don't know. I'll have to find out when I get there.
I think you definitely can. And even on your way to get to the point where you want to be, you can certainly be the type of person that you want to be. So if, you know, giving back is important to you, if creating a change is important to you, you can do it every step of the way.
Yeah.
Whilst you get to whatever, you know, goals that you have.
I've tried to think about it. I haven't done as much as I would like to in terms of charity work and giving back. And the reason probably for that is that I suppose my giving back is in a different way. Like, I believe building businesses is about giving back to people. It's not just be creating great products for customers, but it's about giving people opportunity. I have great people that work for me, and I've created opportunities for those people that work for me. And I know that I've brought them in, I've mentored them, I've trained them, and I've educated them, and they make insane amounts of money. They wouldn't be able to make the money they make with any other business what they make with me. They make 6 figures, and they've worked very hard to be able to get to that level, but I create the opportunities for them to be able to make that. And I see that as a way to give back.
Definitely.
You know,
definitely it is. It
rather
doesn't
than
just
like
mean
the normal traditional charity.
Yeah. No, that's actually not what I meant. What I meant is exactly what you said. It's the way you show up in the world. It's the way you embody your values. Yeah. It's the way that you hold space for the people around you. It's the impact that you have with every interaction with every person that you meet on the way. Yeah. That's really what I mean. And then, of course, on top of that, if you're financially in a position to, you know, donate, create other, you know, charitable endeavors, then that's fantastic. But I think it starts with, you know, £0 necessity. Yeah. It starts from how you interact with other people and what sort of impact you have on them.
Absolutely.
On this note, my favorite question and the reason why this podcast even exists.
Go for it.
What is your purpose?
My purpose was to put my mum into retirement. I did that when I was 28 years of age. When that happened, I lost my purpose for a period of time. Then I had a son, and he became the new purpose. Then I realized that if I associate my purpose to other people, then it's not my purpose, it's their purpose, or it's my purpose for them. So I had to take some time to reconnect with what I wanted. Again, you know, that's why I said to you earlier on that I need to work for me first, or, you know, once you achieve that purpose, you become lost. So I think the purpose is to become a billionaire. It's to become a billionaire because I want to help people. It's to become a billionaire because it's almost unachievable. It's the only thing that I believe that will be a very challenge for me to achieve. I don't think there's anything else that I can't do. And so I think it's big enough and scary enough to keep me going for some time. I want to create a legacy that lasts 1,000 years. I want to help people at scale. And yeah, I want to do good, but I don't know exactly what it is. I can't say more than I want to do good for people. I want to help people. I've spent probably the last, since I've been in business since 22, which is now 10 years. 10 years I've been in business. You know, I've spent my time really trying to level people up. What excites me is about leveling people up. That's why I like the training space. I recently launched a business called Valente E37 just 4 weeks ago.
I was about to ask you about that.
And that's a low ticket training program for people to create high income skills. And we teach sales, we teach funnel building, we teach paid ads, we teach logo design, we teach shorts and videography. So basically little skills that you can take to businesses and sell as a consultancy service, or that you can do as a side hustle, or that you can increase your income. But they're all really 6-figure skills. You know, the purpose of that university is life starts at 10k a month. So if they learn the skills that can get them to 10 grand a month, then they're going to be able to have a good life. They'll be able to pay their bills, have their food, pay their cars, you know, pay their bills, you know, and all of that standard stuff, which isn't a luxury, it's standard in my opinion. And then you need money outside of that to be able to have some fun, to be able to invest, to be able to, you know, invest in you and your future, to be able to have children, you know, and all of those other things that need paying for that aren't just the standard of living. But if you continue to just operate with the same value to the market, then you're not going to be able to get paid more. And as an employer right now, we've got 30 people that work for us in this business. Because it's because it's a training business, it's very much ads, funnel, content, shorts, click funnels, all that type of stuff. Well, there's not many people in the market with those skills. They're very difficult to find, actually. And so there's a real lack in that department of people with those skills. And the people that I have working for me do it. I've got people in India that do it for me. I've got people in the UK that do it for me. I'm paying people all over the place lots and lots of money to do these services. So I thought, right, well, if I create the skills that are missing, actually they're valuable to all businesses, because if I can't get them, no one can get them. And we pay a lot of money for them, and they're not that in-depth skills to learn. So, for £20 a month, we're targeting kind of 12-year-olds to 24-year-olds, and they're able to come in, learn these lessons, and turn them into businesses or turn them into side hustles. And that's been going for 4 weeks. I've got nearly 1,000 members paying $19.99 a month. Successful launch, and I want to grow that and scale that. That'd be a fantastic business. I mean, it's a really good business to run from a not a lot to do standpoint, and very, very profitable, right? And it's also helping a lot of people. I told you earlier, Trade Mastermind, it's £25,000 to buy a training product from us. So, no one's at 25 grand, have they? So, there are people that want to learn these skills and they want to pay a little bit for it. But you can go to YouTube, you can go to Google, you can go and read books, and you can learn all of the stuff that we're teaching in the Valente University. You can learn it. It's all on the internet if you're willing to connect it all together. Or you can make a financial commitment and bring it all into one place. But in most cases, people that don't make a financial commitment, even if it's a small one, they don't even bother doing the training. I've sold training to people for thousands and they still don't even bother doing it. People will buy a coaching program and spend £50,000 on it, and then they just stop showing up. They get busy, or they just don't commit, so people just financially, people struggle to commit in a lot of things. And so even with a big financial commitment, people don't show up. So you've got to put something in there to get people committed.
Definitely. Why do you think people lack this commitment? And what should people do about it? If there's somebody listening that recognizes, okay, effectively, I'm that person. Like, I've bought this course, signed up for this seminar, and I didn't show up, or I started 10 books and I never finished them. Yeah.
You've got to understand what your priorities are. And I think that people that run a business are busy. So it's easier to do the work than it is to work. It's easier to work in the business than it is to work on the business. And, you can get too carried away with doing it rather than delegating it. And, you've got to make the time. It's hard. It takes discipline. I've listened to 3 hours of audiobooks already today. I've been up since 4:45, and I've done that work, and I've put in that time. And people don't want to work on themselves. They want to find the easy things to do. And the easy things to do is to do what because learning new content is uncomfortable, because it's taking you outside of your comfort zone. It's forcing you to level up. It's different than what you're used to, and just naturally people
shy away from that.
They shy away from that, right?
Definitely. Very, very true. I mean, speaking about Valente University, I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah.
So I saw a clip on your Instagram, and it was, you in this Rolls Royce and Ferrari and by the boat and this very same pancreas. And the message that popped out was get rich quick.
Yeah.
Now.
It's the only way to get rich, Dana.
Let's explore
It's the only way to get rich quick.
Okay. I mean, what I've heard all my life is stay away from get rich quick scams, because that's all it is. It doesn't, a way for you to get rich quick does not exist. And if it does, and if it will get you rich, there's a caveat and there's a fine print.
If you spent your life making 30 grand a year, and somebody came along and they said to you, within 3 months, you're going to make 10 grand a month, and all you've ever known is 30 grand a year. I'm not saying that's what you make. I'm just saying that's what a lot of people that call training and development a scam are making. Okay. And of course, you're going to not be able to connect it. You're not going to be able to understand it. What do you mean? I've been making 30 grand a year, doing 40 hours a week for the last 10 years, and you're telling me that there's this thing that you can do that's going to get X, Y, and Z, and you're going to make all this money. Of course you're going to think it's a scam. Nobody making 6 figures and more says that training and development is a scam. The only people that I hear that say training and development is a scam is people that are already broke, because they don't understand that they can't conceptualize how there is a way that you can make money fast, because they don't know how to make it. Now, get rich quick, I'm not advertising get rich quick. I'm advertising learn the high income skills. You know, it's quite practical. If you go on and do a Facebook ads course, yeah, and you learn how to do ads, you could go to a business and say, I'll charge you £1,000 to run your ads. If you are motivated and dedicated enough, within 4 weeks, you should have been able to prospect 50 plus businesses and close 20% of those businesses on £1,000 a month product. You're making 10k a month. That's what I am teaching. There's no magic formula other than the right skills and then going out and selling those services and delivering those services. That's how it can happen, right? You know that's realistic. It's realistic to me to get 10 people paying you £1,000 a month to do Facebook ads, because everybody needs leads. You need leads. I need leads. We all need leads. No business, no leads. So is it get rich quick? Maybe. I don't know. If it is get rich quick, fantastic. It's the only way to get rich, in my opinion. But it's not stupid get rich quick. It's not fake get rich quick. It's actually following a system that works. Getting a skill and going and selling it to a business. I mean, that's what everybody's been doing for, the last 2,000 years when there's been a value exchange. It's just
a very potent marketing. I mean, that sort of messaging,
because that's what people want to see. If you're a young guy and you're broke, you want to see people that are living it up. Of course, that's what we're leveraging when we're putting out content like that on purpose. I'm not going to sit in my bedroom and, in my pajamas and I don't wear pajamas, but if I wore pajamas, I'm going to sit in my bedroom in my pajamas saying, oh, guess what? You can, make £10,000 a month. Who's going to be excited by that? They're not going to be excited by that. As a young man, I wanted those things. So that's what drives me. That's what motivates me. Of course, for some people, that's not what they want. And they're going to go, oh my God, look at that stereotypical content of get rich quick, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. It appeals to the market that I'm pushing
that you're after, yeah.
And I genuinely believe in what I teach works, so... And I've got the proven track record to prove it. I have a training business with over 500 5-star reviews, repeat custom, doing millions in sales. And that was even after all of the negative press that was about me. You won't go online and see any negative reviews about our training. You'll see negative reviews that we market too hard, but you won't see them about the content or the package or the training they bought was bad. And if anybody was going to get it, it would be me, right? If anyone was going to say bad things about me and our training and it wasn't legit, it would be me. So... yeah, it's the right message to the right market, because that's what they aspire and that's what they want. And they have to work very hard from the Valente University to get there, but it's not saying that's what you will get immediately, but you will get rich
it in quick time. If you work hard.
Get rich quick if you work hard and you listen and you show up.
Okay, fair enough.
But nowhere does it say get rich quick. You've associated get rich quick.
No,
it doesn't say get rich quick.
I'll show it to you.
No, it doesn't.
I'll show it to you. I'll find it and I'll show it to you.
It definitely doesn't say that.
No, but
if
it's okay.
If somebody's wrote get rich quick, then I'll fire them for writing that.
Oops. I didn't want to be responsible for that today.
No one's wrote get rich quick.
No, I mean, I understand that is purely, marketing, and that you're appealing to the audiences that, you're trying to target.
Yeah.
So I understand that much.
Yeah.
But sometimes I guess that's what the people that you described are wondering, but at what cost, is that going to lead them actually? Are you going to fulfill what your promises are? But if you say that you are, then that's fine. You're just...
And it's £20 a month. It's not like give me £10,000 and you're going to do it. If I was gonna scam someone, then you would want to be going for more than 20 quid, would you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you're not going to scam someone for 20 quid because they'll just pay it 1 month and then they'll just stop paying if it's no good. So what have you achieved? You've taken £20. The people that you've got to worry about are people that are saying, pay me £20,000 for a 1-day session or a 1-day coaching session or to learn this, and then there's nothing else about them that has their credibility. Low ticket, you're pretty safe as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Even on a £1,000 course, there's loads of guys out there that sell absolutely horrendously poor courses that are just not worth the paper that they're written on. But for some people they might work. For me, they're no good. But for £20 a month, you're safe.
For the Valente University, I couldn't help but to draw a slight kind of correlation. Has Andrew Tate inspired you in any way or shape or form?
Absolutely.
Tell me.
Absolutely.
What do you think about
I
him?
mean, you know, when I saw the numbers of what he was doing, 200,000 subscribers paying £50,000 a month is 2.5 million or thereabouts in revenue every month for a platform that has basic training, low ticket, but at scale. So, you know, it made perfect sense to me. The Trade Mastermind for me was the gateway into the training and development space. Construction was my niche. It's what I know. And I wanted to go in and conquer that first, but it was most definitely not the final destination. The opportunity has and will have always been to take it globally and to work with people in all different levels of personal development. And so it was kind of the perfect opportunity. When somebody goes out and creates that much noise in the marketplace, MySpace came along, Bebo came along, then Facebook came. But MySpace and Bebo made the market, or MySpace made the market, then they disappeared. Then Facebook came into that vacuum. So all I'm doing is coming into the vacuum that he's created. I mean, if there's that many people that want the support, they want the help, they want the guidance and advice across the globe, which there is, and there's not enough people like him or me doing it, then of course I think it's a very, very smart business move on my part, because he's done so much education to the market around his university. So I'm just going in there with a lower ticket program, an alternative option, because everybody needs options, right?
Yeah.
It's an alternative option, and I'm leveraging the marketing that he's created with the knowledge that I've got, which is fucking awesome.
Fair play. So if you had to describe your mindset, the mindset that has taken you from zero to millions several times over and has guided you throughout all of these hardships, how would you describe it?
Anything is possible. And whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. You know, Napoleon Hill, and that's how I live. I think I can do anything. I think I can do anything. I think anything. I can do anything I set my mind to. And just comes back to, what have I got to lose? I think the first fear that I had in business was losing it. Then I lost it and realised that I can do it again in no time at all.
You can still recover.
If I lost it a second time, I'd be back even quicker. You're just getting smarter every time. You know, I'd say to my business partner now, I'm like, if we had to lose this business tomorrow, I mean, we could do what we've done in the last 2 years in literally a month. It's like you just know how to put the pieces together so much faster. So I actually don't see it as a negative anymore. In fact, in America, you know, you're celebrated for going bankrupt. I've never been bankrupt, but you're celebrated for going bankrupt. In some private equity firms won't invest in you unless you've been bankrupt twice.
Yeah, I've heard that.
You know, they want to see you. They want to see you fail, because if you haven't failed yet, you haven't screwed up enough to be able to manage their money effectively. By business 3, you'll be pretty smart and pretty well educated. Now, you want to try and get to that business 3 without burning through 2 businesses. But if it happens, it happens. Name me some super successful individual entrepreneur that hasn't bust out more than once to be able to get what they've built. Everyone's had a bust out story. Everyone that's achieved anything of any level. So, you know, just the fear of, if you go broke, you go broke. You just get up and go again. So it's pretty bulletproof now, I would say. It's pretty bulletproof.
And what would you say were your most hard-earned lessons?
The most hard-earned lessons were definitely losing that company. I mean, that was tough. That was
You mentioned also that you were kind of severely bullied and had a lot of pressure from people online. How did you overcome that depression? How did you overcome that low?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really associated the word bullying with it, actually. It's more, I've had a lot of hate online, which I suppose is kind of an online bullying, but I don't like to use the word bullying because I think bullying is weakness. And I think bullying then makes me appear to be weak. And I'm not saying that's right for everybody. But for me, I don't like the word bullying because I think it then empowers the trolls rather than, you know, just saying what it is, that there's a lot of hate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you call someone a bully, you're empowering them and saying that they're more powerful than you. And
yeah,
what
we
they
can
say
call them trolls, haters, whatever you want.
So, you know, trolls, haters. After going on The Apprentice, I was pretty well versed on it from then. You know, so, you know, you get a lot of fans and you get a lot of hate. And I've always kind of just laughed it off. You know, there was a lot of stick on all of the stuff that I did, and I'm a target. A guy like me, the way that I look, dress, speak, act, is always going to rub a lot of people up the wrong way. So I know I'm going to piss people off.
So is there, when you see something hurtful, what were the most hurtful things that kind of got
I
to
mean,
you
the
around
most
this
annoying thing for me was that Lloyd Sugar retweeted that you can't win them all. I think that was probably one of the most hurtful ones because I was the first apprentice to buy him out. I think I started a trend. About 4 or 5 have done it after. And
yeah, you did that 2 years after he
2 years
invested.
after. Yeah.
Why?
Basically, I was showing up in the board meetings, and I was showing up in the board meetings, and they couldn't add any more value. You know, whenever you bring in a partner, like a partner is a value exchange. Yeah. So, or an investor is a value exchange. So he puts in the money, you get support from his team, which are mostly accountants or financial directors. So they help me understand finances way better than what I understood them previously, right? So we put in a financial infrastructure, but they didn't know about service-based business. They didn't know about scaling a national plumbing company. They didn't know what to do. It became a case of going to a board meeting and justifying my moves rather than going to a board meeting and getting coached, mentored, and helped on what moves to make. There was no coaching and mentoring of what to do. There was accountants that were controlling my every move to be able to report back. It wasn't the dynamic that I signed up for, and I am not one to sit quiet. I suppose I probably maybe regret that decision because I was, again, 27 years of age. I was on a mission. I saw him at that point as in my way rather than helping. I said to him, listen, you know, I keep coming here every single month and you're asking for me what to do. I signed up to this because you're meant to be helping me. When you were 27, you were growing your Amstrad to a, you know, big business. I want to be a fucking billionaire and I don't want to go slow. You keep telling me to go slow and I've got you so I don't have to go slow. I could have gone slow on my own. You should help me go fast. And I believe that it just became a case of, you know, put up, shut up, make a little bit of profit, show up each year on The Apprentice to say how good Lord Sugar is and that you're still in business and you're making a little bit of money, which is what I saw the other guys doing. And I wasn't really interested in that. So I said, listen, if you don't want to help me and you're not interested and you're worried about the risk, because I said, of course, growing a business at the scale I want to is a risk. He knew it. I knew. I'm not stupid. I knew what I was doing with Impro was a massive risk. I was shooting for the moon. And if I missed, it was going to be catastrophic. If I paid off and struck oil, I was going to be super rich. I was willing to risk it all. I'm always willing to risk it all. And for the chance to get better, for the chance to be at the next level. And so I said to him, look, if you don't want to take the risk on, let me buy you out. And then he said, no one's ever spoke to me like that before. I'll come back to you in 48 hours. So we did a deal, and within 48 hours I was out. And that was crazy. It was a really crazy time. I had about 40 employees. I went back, told them all. And then I was nervous and I was second guessing myself. Did I make the right move? Did I do this? Did I do that? And you know what? I was doing $1 million a year when I bought him out, and then when I exited, we were doing $1 million a month. So then I kind of maybe was on a mission to prove to him that I could build a national business. So maybe that clouded my thinking and my judgment. I don't know. Probably had a part to do with it.
How did you deal with those haters after all?
Okay, so how did I deal with them? Just, you know, it's just water off a duck's back. It doesn't bother me. It's just you got to become.
Has there ever been something that you read that really did get under your skin, except for that tweet?
Not really. No, it's just all noise. The more hate that you get, the more moves that you're making, and you know, I just laugh it off. I'm living in their head rent free. They're not living in mine. You know, so they're talking about me. I'm not talking about them.
I think it's a matter always of authority. So if the person, in fact, as you said, the only comment that made an impact was the one from Lord Sugar, because he meant something to you. So you you held him in high regard in one way or another. Whereas those people, you consciously or subconsciously realize that, you know, they're not really important. They're not in your circle. They're not somebody that you're looking up to. Hence why it's completely irrelevant what they think. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, it holds a lot of people back. And all I can say is just don't let it hold you back. Whatever you do, you're going to be judged. Yeah. You've got to put yourself out there. You've got to stand out. You've got to be brave to make a noise in this world. This world is the most hardest it's ever been to compete, especially in the online space. So you've got to be unique. You're not going to get anywhere by being average and playing it safe. You've got to stand out. You have to. The game is so competitive now, and there's so much noise, so much trying to get the same attention that you and I want. Okay, everybody else is battling for it as well, and there's 1,000,001 distractions. You know, I go on my phone, I check 5 different social media channels within 2 minutes.
This
5
really...
channels in 2 minutes. And I'm like, where am I looking right now?
Yeah.
You know, you forget billboards and TV. It's like your phone is the competition. There's just so much, you know. I almost come off it sometimes and I'm like, I feel like overwhelmed with the amount of shit that I've just seen in such a short period of time.
You have to be very, very careful and mindful of where your attention goes, where your focus goes. You have to protect it.
Yeah.
So I always have my people that know me, they're very annoyed at this. It's always on the silent, on the focus mode. So I have no notifications.
Oh, really?
Nobody can just randomly call me.
Wow.
No, I'm in this. Yeah.
That's very frustrating.
I'm
sure.
Yeah. No,
I'll be like,
it's great for me.
She's not answering.
But you have to. Otherwise,
I did try to ring you actually when I was coming up.
Yeah.
You had it on Do Not Disturb.
Yes, I did. But I did call you back 2 minutes
You did
later.
call me back, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what you just said rings an important point, which is you might have the best intentions in the world to serve people, and you might have the most incredible show, podcast, music, art, and whatever. Yeah. But if you are lagging on the marketing and you do not understand the game, which is this awful game of capturing people's attention, your message won't be out there and you won't be able to help people. And that's something that, you know, people that really live to serve need to understand, that unfortunately they either need to learn it and embrace it and play that game, or hire somebody to do that if they really care about their cause and they want to get it out. And I say that to people listening as much as myself, you know, because otherwise, again, you're sitting on a gold mine, but nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. It's a game of attention. It's not, people don't buy from people they like, they buy from people they know first. Yeah. So you've got to get known.
Yeah, you have to get known. Then,
but also it's a great opportunity. I mean, you know, the way you can do anything from this room right now, you can do 3 lives right now, and you can start promoting your mindset coaching. Yeah, if I wasn't here, you could just turn those on. Boom, you're connecting through 3 channels. Automatically, you're getting viewers, you're getting people straight from your living room, and you can start selling to those people straight away. You know, you can do sales from without having to leave this spot.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
It's fast. What an opportunity. You know, so it's not a negative. People need to get excited by marketing.
Yeah.
If you believe in yourself, if you believe in your product, if you believe in your message, you're going to want to share it. You have to become passionate about it, and you have to want to market it. And I don't even like other people doing the marketing. I hate other people in control of my marketing. So I don't think that they, especially if you're kind of, if it's your service, you know, I don't think as you know, you shouldn't outsource your marketing, for example. You need to be your marketing. People are going to buy into you at this current state, at this current level. You know, so you're going to be the one that sells. They're going to want to buy you, aren't they? So you got to be the face. You got to be the forefront of everything that you do. Yeah,
definitely. And I guess it's about a little bit of that stigma that selling and marketing has. Yeah. But then again, I think one just needs to bring it back to why are you doing this? Yeah. What is the greatness? What is the value that you want to provide to people? Yeah. And then within remembering that purpose, you find that courage to do this, to sell, to put yourself forward.
Absolutely.
Joseph, I always end with one question, which is,
what's it going to be this time?
What is your recipe for happiness?
What's my recipe for happiness? Great question. I don't know. I'm not very happy.
We should have started there.
I suppose I'm not that happy, you know. I'm not really.
What does happiness mean to you?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm looking for it all the time. I'm searching for what happiness looks like. I'm always chasing, and that means that I give very little appreciation to the here and the now. And I think that happiness will only be determined, will only reach me when I become satisfied with where I am, and I don't know if I'm ever going to be satisfied. So I don't really spend too much time being happy, and I don't give anything the attention that it deserves to I don't really appreciate it as much, because as soon as I've done it, it's like next. It's such a, I give it such a short
moment of appreciation.
Yeah, well done. That was very well articulated.
I mean, I'll definitely send you a link to season 2, which is coming out soon, which is me doing solo episodes where I talk about different topics that are very relevant for, you know, everybody, including my coaching clients. And you know, the first one is going to be on happiness. So.
Oh, fantastic.
And it's very short, it's, you know, 10-12 minutes, so you can just
Good.
I think it's going to be useful, but it speaks exactly on what you just said. I think once again, it's not either or. Yeah. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. You can learn to enjoy the moment,
Yeah.
and especially those little moments of achievement that you have,
Yeah.
whilst striving for that North Star, whilst going towards you becoming a billionaire. It's that belief that if
Yeah.
you allow yourself to stop for a second and enjoy, that will impede you from that growth and will stop you. That is not allowing you to enjoy it in the moment.
Yeah.
Do you
Sounds
think
good
so?
to me.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, Joseph.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
I enjoyed this very much.
Me too.
Hello friends, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe and share it with someone. I would love to hear your feedback and suggestions as to what guests you would like to see on the show next. See you next week.